First, my friends, I want to say that through an erratum that I do not understand why I did this, I put 7 versus 8. I have juggled a number of shows tonight, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know why I did this. I meant to say 8. It was 7. So if you're there, if you were there at 7, I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell is going on here. I did some interesting interviews and the like. That was on Mrs. L's show on Lynn's Warriors, which is also takes precedence. So I wanted to, if we could, bring you up to something which is very, very critical. Let me see if I can bring this to your account, to your awareness now. Let me see if what's happening here. And this is really important. This is because I've never seen anything like this. And let me see if I can kind of weigh through this. In my life, as a whatever it is that I'm doing. In fact, I was talking this evening to Alex Jones about this. I have never seen anything where it has become so personal, or instead of us talking about the facts of the case, it has become personal. We have talked about other things, other matters, and we've confused the issue with the people involved. What you're going to see this week, which is very interesting, is you're going to see a complete and total dispatch and an elimination of Pickles. You're going to say goodbye, have a nice day, we're done with you. And the reason why is simply this, as you probably know. He is a complete and utter joke. He has been an embarrassment. No matter how you look at it, no matter where you go, no matter what your evaluation, it is so embarrassing, so awful, so sad, so pathetic. I mean it. It is pathetic. He should be ashamed of whatever it was that he did, whatever that thing was, whatever that, I don't know what you want to call it, debate, event, meeting, drubbing. He was manhandled, hurt, absolutely hurt by not so much. Let me go. Oh, look at this. I got a Lynn's Warriors. I got the wrong. I even have the wrong. I am so out of it this evening. Let me change this. He was so befuddled. I don't think anybody really understands this. And we're not going to go through it and spend any night because it's just a waste of time. But I've got to say something. I feel kind of insulted that you would send him to speak to us. Do you know, there was a very famous case of Larry Bird. Larry Bird, the famous basketball star. One time he said, and they laughed at this, but they said, no, it's very, very true. He went to someone, he said, you have a white guy guarding me? And they said, ha, ha, ha. He goes, I'm not kidding you. You send a white guy to guard me? And he was serious. He said, I'm Larry Bird. This is what you send? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? You can't be serious. So what they've done is they've taken Candace Owens and they said, I want to go after Candace Owens. Now for you, it would be like for me saying, I want to challenge Usain Bolt to a race, or John Jones or somebody in UFC to look at me and say, this guy? This is a joke. You can't be serious. That's what they did. So at that particular level, I'm very upset about this. No, I mean it. I'm not just saying this. I'm upset. I'm upset. Do you think so little of us? Do you think so little of our claim that you would bring this guy out? Do you not care about this? Does it mean nothing to you? I mean it. I'm not just saying this. That's number one. Number two, or maybe number two, they have run out of options. They don't know what to do. I was talking to Alex and I said, let me explain something which is very important. Do you know why? Let me ask you, do you know why they have selected Candace to pick on? Why? Do you know why? I want you to think about this question. I'm gonna provide this. And I'm not just being rhetorical. I'm asking a very serious question. Do you know why these people, and I'm not going to go through the list and explain who they are. You know who they are, the usual suspects. But some in particular, why did they go after her? Why? Why did they go after her? And why are they selectively bothering her and annoying her? And why are they insulting her? Why? Why do you think that is? What's the reason for that? Anybody? I'll open it up to the floor. I'll let you weigh in if you'd like. Why do you think that's true? What is the purpose behind that, do you think? Anybody? Let me see if I can explain this to you. The reason why is simple. There are people out there, and I don't know who they are, and you can guess all night long. Is it Israel? Is it the CIA? I don't know. And when I was talking to my good friend Alex, I said, I'm telling you right now, neither I nor Candace nor anybody else for that matter are suggesting any particular group of people who are responsible for this. You may think all you want. But what they did was they said, we are screwed. For whatever reason, this guy should have been stopped, but he wasn't. He wasn't. He wasn't stopped. He was allowed to go on. And we're stuck. We have this stupid case with this stupid defendant, this stupid patsy. None of it's working. So what do we do? So they're coming after me. I'm not going to mention the names, but I got it in this one particular. I did it. Jimmy Dore and others. We're jokes, or we're being pulled into this mess, and I'm thinking, what are you talking about? They're so desperate because they realize the case is over. Nobody believes this. I'm going to try to say it again. I'm going to try to be as non-repetitive. This week, Pickles is through. It's done. Done. It was a Friday. They gave it a couple of days. They still work on the weekend rule. See, this is no rule of TV news, TV broadcasting. There is no weekend on the internet. It's 24/7. For them, I mean, there are different parts of the time. So they don't know what to do. He's gone. He's through. He's finished. His wife, him, through, done, over, finished. They don't want to see him anymore. I guarantee you somebody's saying, who did this? Who allowed this? The reason why, to show you how stupid TPUSA was, they should have said, listen, what's your name? Pickles? Yeah, you're not going on with Candace. No. Because they're going to think you speak for us. That's why Candace wanted to have a statement made where they adopted this man as a spokesman for them. Does that make any sense? This is why Candace wanted that. Because now they're saying, hey, watch what happens this week. Listen, that's not him. Watch how many people say, well, he might not have been the best person. They're running from him. And how he gets his money, if he paid the 300? Is he going to recoup? I have no idea how this thing works. But let me make this very, very clear. He's going to be like on the milk cart, abandoned, forgotten. He'll go MIA, and they'll look for a new troll to attack Candace. Why do they not like Candace? Yes, indeed, it's because of the jealousy. Yes, she poses this new threat. Yes, that's true. But deep down inside, unlike anybody else, she is kind of like the Oliver Stone on steroids. There are some very dangerous people in the world who very poorly, very stupidly decided that they were going to eliminate this young man. And they came up with the most ill-conceived way of doing it. I don't know why. I'm walking up. I'm an accident reconstruction person, and there's been a train wreck, and there's 4 or 5 cars. I can't even make out how many cars. It's a mess. There's fire and smoke and steam. That's what this is. And people are trying to pull it apart and to dissect it, to understand it. And Friday, I can't get my head around it. Why did they allow it? What you're going to see in the future is this. You're going to have somebody, let's say J.D. Vance is running. J.D. Vance is the Republican nominee, or J.D. Vance, whatever it is. Somebody is going to pick up from this rule book, and they're going to say, remember that guy who claimed to represent the folks who didn't believe the official or the Candace narrative? Remember when they got this guy? Yeah. Remember how they needed somebody to fortify this? Yes. Let's do that now. So they will get somebody to come forward and debate somebody, and he'll say why J.D. Vance is a good person and the right person for the country. But the person that they pick to speak on behalf of J.D. Vance is an idiot, a racist, a moron, an uneducated rube, something along those lines. You will then hear this person say, my God, is this the J.D. Vance voter? Is this the J.D. Vance platform? Does J.D. Vance think this? And J.D. Vance will come on and say, no, he doesn't represent me. This is just some guy. This is some guy. It's not, he doesn't represent us. That's what happened tonight. So what your job this week is going to do is to tell people, well, there you have it. Pickles represents the official narrative. And if you want to see why I don't believe in the official narrative, his name is Pickles. Listen to this retardate, this moron. Listen to him. This is the thinking of the official narrative. This, go further. This is the voice of TPUSA. This is the voice. This guy, our good friend 44 Destinies, is going after Candace because she's smarter than they are. Indeed, among other reasons, to be sure. We can talk about that. I was talking to a dear friend of mine tonight. We had a very interesting conversation. I'm not going to say who she was. But there were people who did not like the fact that she now represents this new group. They're jealous. Let me give you an example. When I was first at WABC starting in 93, there was a fellow there named Bob Grant. Bob Grant was the original conservative firebrand in talk radio. He was in the oh my God, he was in the branch of the prototypical classics. What was his name? Who was the fellow out of LA? I think it was his name. So Bob Grant was it. Bob Grant was it. Then came Rush Limbaugh. And Rush Limbaugh took it to a level that nobody could have ever imagined. And I'm not saying Bob Grant, but there were people who were on his team, so to speak, who despised Rush Limbaugh because they were so jealous. I was there first. I was there first. Don't you understand this? This is what they said. I was there first. And we represent, this is the group of people. So anyway, here comes Candace. And they don't know what's happening. Candace right now is, and this may bother people, the biggest name, I think, in media, period. I know music and everything. So that's number one. It just drives people crazy. They can't take that. You don't understand it. I know jealousy, to be sure. Number two, there are people who wade into something they have no business doing. Did you see Ian Carroll just destroy this idiot regarding soft tip and frangible this? I don't want to put you through that right now. It doesn't even matter. But I guarantee you, somebody's picking up the phone. And somebody picked up the phone Friday and called Blake Neff or Colvette and said, who is this moron? Who is he? Well, that's Pickles Wilson. Who in the is Pickles Wilson? Well, this is a guy who normally debates OnlyFans gals. And what is he doing? Well, he's debating. Did you make it clear he's not with us? Did you? Well, not really. Why not? Well, you know how they have on TV, the views and the opinions or whatever, it's not necessarily that of the management and they're going to think this is us. This is a guy who went on TV and yes, I taught people how to debate. Yes, I showed them how to debate. And I'm a debate. So do you know what it's like when you represent people? There was a couple of times in New York when people went to try to represent the Italian American constituency. And people came forward and they said, oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, you don't. No. You don't speak for Italians, as you can imagine. Who do you think you are? Well, I'm an Italian. I don't care who you are. Shut up and get out of here. You don't speak on behalf. We never picked you. You don't do this. Joe Colombo tried it, and you know what happened with that. Anyway, so this guy right now, today, is still an embarrassment. And a number of these people are absolutely, and I could name them, but I'm tired of naming them, but they're the usual suspects. They don't know what to do. And they're saying that I and Jimmy Dore and Barron, whoever it is, that we're killing our careers. We're getting involved in this, whatever it is, by pointing out that the case is complete and utter bullshit. But what they're doing is, they're not talking about the facts of the case. They're saying Candace. They're not daring to touch the facts of the case. They're not saying you're wrong about this, you're wrong about the bullet, you're wrong about the confession, you're wrong about the timeline. No. They're saying you, all of this, you We are part of this Svengali-like pull that Candace Owens has on us. We don't think independently. I don't think. You don't think. We don't. We're not rational people. We've fallen under this. By the way, Joe Pine was the guy's name I was trying to think about. Bob Grant. We've fallen under this lure, this Svengali Rasputin. You see what they're doing? They don't know what to do. And this week, they're going to switch everything. Watch what happens. Pay attention tomorrow. This guy won't be able to get arrested. Since Friday, he started off being relatively unknown. This is Pickles. And now he's a laughingstock. Have you met anyone who thinks this guy did a great job? And I changed my mind. No. This is the part which is the most important. Now, in case you've just tuned in, you're wondering, listen, I kind of wade into this thing and I'd kind of like to know more about it. I don't really know what's going on. But let me see if I can explain. Maybe you can help me out with this. Let me see if I can explain this to you. Tyler Robinson will not be found guilty of anything. You know who will be found? Neopsis. He's found guilty of being one of the brightest minds around. Nia says, Daily Fredo did an excellent analysis of Pickles' opening statement. The word choice suggests he didn't write it. Well, of course he didn't, because that's why he had to read it. Oh, by the way, Kasia is wonderful. She's one of the first people I ever wanted to talk to. I love her story. Here's a Polish woman, lives in Cyprus, so meticulous. So we have so many incredible people. Ian, it was great. I'm glad to see him. Barrett, go down the list. But none of us have said, well, we don't really know what we're talking about, but we sure love Candace. It doesn't work that way. Mr. Greno, Mr. Gino Farm, anyway, said he's so glaringly not a debater. He must know he is a joke. The heel, so to speak. He had to benefit somehow. He had to have pulled a shoeless Joe Jackson and bet against himself on Polymarket. That's brilliant. Maybe I don't understand this. You see, you've got to understand this. My wife and I play this game of, I don't understand this. That's my whole thing. I don't understand this. Why is this happening? What nobody can do is, if you wanted to go out and really attack, they can't do this. But I'm going to tell you, and Candace, I hope you're listening, because this is what I would do. If I wanted to attempt, not that I could, but if I wanted to attempt to marginalize you or anybody else, the first thing I would do is I would make it sound like you are harmless, that you're nice, you're sincere, you mean well, you're a great person, you do a lot of good things, and bless your heart, you're entitled to your opinion. But you know, and then you go through the thing, you try your best, but I would neutralize her by not pissing off her fans, by not alerting millions of people that she's right because I'm targeting. Now, I'm not saying I would be effective at this, but I would not take her on. I wouldn't do this. I just wouldn't do it. I couldn't. Why are they doing this? Why? I'd almost even the point, thank you very much. I'd like to thank Candace for bringing up so many great points. It's so thoughtful. She's told, how about a big, isn't she great, ladies and gentlemen? How about that, Candace Owens? Bless her heart. Take a bow. No, seriously. Thank you so much. And she makes us so thankful because we've learned so much from you. And there's one thing we can say is that it sure is a lot of moving parts. You know what? We're gonna see this, and I'll tell you sometimes. And by the way, this is the other one too. Sometimes it's difficult to realize that somebody as great as Charlie, somebody as bold and proud and smart and beautiful and powerful as Charlie, could have been dispatched and removed and obliterated by somebody as insignificant. So consequently, sometimes what happens, this is what they did in the JFK case, sometimes we bolster, we promote, we elevate the people and the conspiracies that must have been available in order to remove them. I would do everything in my power, but I would neutralize. I would not take her on. I would not, if I wanted to win. If I'm saying, okay, TPUSA, I'm going to do my best to promote this story, whatever the hell it is, but I'm not going to do it. And already people are like, Candace is good. She means well. She's a good person. Everybody's kind of calmed down. No, I think she has a right to say exactly. I don't see it her way. Not that, you see what I'm saying? But they can't do this. Gematria says, tell me his charges. No, you tell me the charges. Tell me his charges. No, you tell me the charges. Yeah. Reversing the burden of proof fallacy. Debate skills 1 out of 10. It does. I'm so glad that she said, no. What do you think he's charged with? Well, I believe it's murder. I believe it's murder. Do you know that what she did to him also? She also did to him what I'm suggesting. She basically let him say, no, you don't need to hear me. Let's hear you. You don't know what you're saying. That's the part. Mr. Greno says, out of nowhere, he appeared like the skydiver, yet that landed in the boiling ring during one of Mike Tyson's matches back in the 90s. I don't know how this is so ill, everything's so ill conceived and so whatever. But I'm telling you, remember I'm saying this, mark my words, this week, unless they're just stupid, but somebody's going to say, that's enough. We don't talk about him anymore. Don't talk about him anymore. And believe me, they will forget about him so fast. Talk about something else. And somebody will say, come here, yeah. Probiotic, you and all the people. What are you going to do about this? What do you mean? What are you going to do about this? How are we going to promote this? If I told you really what needs to be done about this, nobody would do it. Nobody would want to do it. Nobody would listen to me. Is your goal really to deflect, to make this case kind of go away? Well, the first thing you have to do is stop talking about it. They can't do that. There are people who live in this raw nerve thing called social media. Nash Remler says, thank you for correcting Alex about the misinformation that he has been saying about Candace. Yes, we had a nice conversation, and I made it very, very clear. Very, very clear, and to other people as well. Very, very, very clear. Candace Owens has never said that she's accusing anybody. But see, sometimes people act oddly, weirdly, strangely. Sometimes they need to be investigated, not so much because they're a co-defendant, but because they might know something. They might be able to provide information that could help dramatically. Absolutely. So going back to this, in case you just tuned in, on September the 10th of last year, Charlie Kirk was sitting at University, UVU, Utah Valley University, whatever it was. And as he's speaking, you hear this clap, crack, rifle, snap. I don't know what this noise was. You heard it. And it coincided with this. I think I've never seen the simultaneous sound, but you saw what appeared to be an exit wound, perhaps, entry. You decide. And he exsanguinated rather profusely and just slid over to the left. It was almost like, you notice that? He didn't fall backwards. He didn't lunge backwards. It was almost like hit. You notice that? He was hit and he just kind of, I don't want to say gently, but if you look at it over and over, I've seen it a million times, he just kind of. Now, right off the bat, I'd stop the film and I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, may I ask you a question? Now, what do you think that was? Was that a high-powered rifle? Do you remember seeing, God forbid, the Zapruder film? Did you see President Kennedy say, ow? No. Let's talk about that. What was that? Well, it seems like whatever it was didn't have a lot of firepower to it. Well, you know what's funny? Pickles, the genius, said that these rounds can sometimes, in flight, disintegrate. I want you to think about this tonight. Before you go to bed, before you say your prayers, before you whatever. I want you to think about this. And I want you to think of being in a world where you have this manufactured bullet that has a casing and a jacket and a whole bit. And it's fired. And in the millisecond from fire to target, as it traverses through the air, it deshrouds, it atomizes, it disintegrates in mid-flight. This is what this man said with a straight face. With a straight face. Nobody stopped. PBD didn't say, wait a minute, what? Even Candace didn't say, what? It maybe that's the best. I've been thinking about this with a straight face. I don't know of any, I'm not a gun expert, but imagine trying to say, hey, listen, don't move. What is it? I made this. What is it? It's a round that shatters in midair. It's held together with a little hairspray. I put the pieces together. I put a hairspray on it. It's loose. And once the explosion begins, if it comes out of the barrel, it is so stupid. It is so preposterous. I heard this during 9/11. I heard this when people came up with these ideas about how jet fuel just spreads and it permeates and it seeps into the crevices and the core and the support beams, and it travels down all along 110 or whatever it was when it hit, whatever the balance was. And this fire, once you light jet fuel, it stays like lava and it just falls and drips and drops. And it's just the most incredible thing in the world. And it works so incredibly interesting that when it finally breaks, and the building says, "Hey, we can't we can't support our weight." Why? Because all of our supports have been completely whittled away and melted away by virtue of this jet fuel, and it falls perfectly at free fall speed. So if this is the begin, I know this is my, if this is the building and it falls, that means there's got to be no resistance here, 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 and here. So that means you have to always make sure that you drop, you have a squib, pow, this drops, pow, this drops, pow, this drops, so that there's no resistance. You got to make sure, it's almost like you want to just cut this thing out so it falls. And this is what people were telling me 25 years ago. When I said, are you listening to yourself? They just created this thing like the magic bullet. It turns around and it goes like this. Flight 93, Shanksville. You see, the plane was traveling so fast that when it hit the ground, it just disintegrated. I'm saying, what are you talking about? They just made it up. Flying Jazz TV says, I feel bad for Rachel's third husband. He is the second Patsy in the Charlie Kirk case. He was groomed and promised notoriety when his purpose was either victory or career unraveling. Wow. You know, it's interesting. He doesn't even, yeah, I'm trying to piece together. By the way, thank you for that. I'm trying to piece together. If this is what you were discussing, if it's Pickles, I guess I don't know. See, I don't know anything about Rachel. I'm just saying, I don't care how many husbands she's had or baby daddies, or that is kind of relevant when that young lady, Charlie, from the OF group, they just did it to disintegrate him. But he said that. He will have to live with that for the rest of his life. He said there's a bullet that can just disintegrate right when it comes out of the barrel. He said that. And disintegrate far enough away that it maintains some particular pattern, so it made some kind of hole. I mean, it just does. So my question is, why? Wouldn't you love to do this? Wouldn't you love to say, Mr. Pickles, yeah, would you have a seat, please? Yes. We're compelling you to testify before a grand jury. I'm from the Department of Justice, and we are investigating debate fraud under 18 USA 1576 per NAB. Let's assume there's a law. We're granting you immunity, so you have to testify. You can't take the fifth. The same way they granted Lance. Mr. Pickles, who paid you to do this? Now, we can get your bank accounts. We'll find it, because I know you don't have any offshore. Who paid you or your wife to do this? Who did this? Who paid you? Whom did you speak with? Did you on your own say, I'm going to debate Candace? On your own, you knowing this, knowing what you know. It's like me debating Terrence Tao on math or Edward Witten on supersymmetry. I don't know anything about them. Somebody put you up to it, didn't they? Yes. Who was that person or persons? Because I blame them. Did you on your own think, I know enough about this, I'm so conversant with the case? Did you? Did you? Did you do this? No, you didn't. So who did it? Who put you up to this? And when you were done, whom did you speak with? Not your wife. Wouldn't you love to get to sit with Rachel, have her say, what was this all about? Why did you do this? Why did you do this? Then you ask, for a hell of it, Blake and Colvett. Do you agree with this? Did you put this guy up? No, he didn't. Are you paying him to teach you how to debate? No. Do your donors know this? Do your shareholders, stakeholders, members, do you know this yet? Who is this guy? Where did he come from? He won't tell us. Do you mean to tell me he just walked in and said, I'm this guy? You ever hear about the imposter? Some guy just walks in and you say, who is he? I don't know. I'm serious. Mr. Pickles, do you know what you did? Mr. Pickles, do you know that before you did this debate, a lot of people knew you were basically a jadrul, an asshole. You were just kind of harmless, full of shit. You just sort of, whatever, I don't know. Got a problem with women, you think they're idiots and that sort of thing. But now the world knows this. Did you know this? Are you surprised by this? Did you think about this at all? Mrs. Wilson, would you please come in here? Rachel is, yeah. Did you think about putting a little makeup on this guy? Do you know what he looks like? Did you see him? Did you see his leg jiggling? And I don't know anything about you, but do you have any idea of how people look and what? Mr. Pickles, did you even remotely think, I'm going to spend some time with a review. I'm going to talk to somebody. Maybe you could hire somebody. Maybe you get somebody who's just a lawyer to say, let me explain to you the legal issues here. Let me teach you a little bit about this. Here's what you say. One time I interviewed a woman who was an architecture professor at Yale. And I said, can you tell me if I'm looking at a building or something, tell me what to say so that another architecture professor will say, oh, this guy knows. He goes, oh, yeah. Say, oh, good lines. And she told me these things to say. Just, this is what you would say. So did anybody talk to him? No. Did anybody ever sit down with him and say, listen, here's what you're going to bring up? Who was it, Mr. Pickles, who said, I'm going to bring my phone up? Have you ever seen this before at a wedding? And now a word from the best man, Jerry Latimer. Thank you very much. Hi, guys. Hang on a minute. Let me get my thing here. Yeah. Yes, to Maxine and Dermot. I met you two so many years ago when we were. It's like, are you reading this? Yeah. It's like, I'm half in the bag. I'm 20 years old. What the hell do you want? He read from his phone. And did you see Candace's face? Gematria says the debate was a farce. It was to get near for what? I don't know. Oh, by the way, thank you. And people are also saying, well, the reason why is to lure Candace. Lure her into saying what? Well, to lure her. I said, listen to what she said. If you're going to get her to say something that you think might be actionable, you don't put on some moron where she's kind of on the defensive. You just let her listen to her shows. No, I'm serious. I'm still shocked by this. Absolutely shocked. And then these other people that I used to respect. And I want to tell them, tell me you're being paid. Tell me somebody is paying you. I'll respect you more. Tell me you're not thinking of this on your own. Tell me I so misread your ability to be rational. Tell me I so misunderstood what you really are about. Tell me. Because I don't understand this. Tell me. Why are you doing this? Now this week, remember what I'm telling you. Starting tomorrow, check with X. Watch how he just goes away. It's done. 50 minutes are up. We're through. Probably the last time I'll talk about it. It's over with. It's done. It's finished. And now Candace, if she was like this, she's like this. She is recognized as the sole kind of like the Mike Tyson, the Babe Ruth, whatever you want to call it. And this chump, so she's bigger than ever. Did you hear somebody from Whatever? Has to be a joke. Whatever, which is a group that puts together, I think it was Pickles, his buddy or something. He puts together these OnlyFans women who do the debates. They offered Candace 100,000, 100,000 to follow up. It's like, are you kidding me? First of all, it's an insult. You don't, what? Fly Ninjas TV says, I am on my phone and the text is nearly unreadable to correct grammar. Mr. Pickles was promised notoriety, but the contract was for victory or career death, fun alive, yes. I'm sorry, or career death, yes, unaliving, excuse me. They're going to be talking about this. You know, have you seen on YouTube, they have this, when amateurs get into fights with professionals. Have you seen this? There was this guy, what his name is. He was this weird, you might have seen him. He was this kind of something was wrong with him, but he was on YouTube and he would challenge these people. I think it was like Floyd Mayweather's father and others, and they go in and he takes cheap shots and then he runs away. And there's this one very large, very lanky, very languid, very long appendaged fighter. And this guy like hits him from behind or does a cheap shot, and he chased him outside and stood over him and hit him. He's a professional. This man has spent hours on footwork, not even hitting anybody, just, And he decided, this guy says, I'm going to take on this professional. I'm going to do this. You know, I was thinking another analogy. It's almost like when a man enters like a male basketball player, but this is in reverse. Imagine if, let's say, Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham, as great as they are, disguise themselves and somehow enter the NBA. You never see that because women always, they don't interrupt or interfere or invade men's sports because they can't, because they're not as good. But imagine what that would look like. She shows up. Have you ever seen NBA players? Have you ever seen them? Have you ever been in a room with them? I'm serious. Most of us have never seen this before. You know tall people. You might know somebody in your family. Like, hey, my cousin Jerry, he's tall. He might be 6'4". 6'4" is nothing. 6'8" is considered small. I got to tell you a true story. I was at a party at an event. I think it was the Hilton, 7th Avenue or something. Anyway, I just happened to be there. It was a Giuliani event, and I slipped off to the bar, and I was standing there. I remember turning to my left. And as I turned, there's a man's belt. It's like here. And I've never done this before. I saw Andre the Giant. I was near him one time, but I wasn't like next to him. And I looked up and it was incredible. I said, I have to ask. He said, 7 feet. I've never stood next to somebody 7 feet tall. Never. It just was wow. So I didn't want to. I said, okay. I said, I don't want to say. He goes, no, it's okay. I said, it must be tough. He says, airline travel. He was a very nice gentleman. This woman walks over. She's, I think it was 6'4", 6'5". She's a woman. And with heels, I don't know. I said, what is going on here? I mean, I'm not exactly a towering stature myself, but I'm thinking, 2 people? Maybe they're just a couple. And I looked, and it was the New York Tall People's Club. This is their meeting. I was in a room with a bar. People be at least 6'5", 6'6", the tiniest. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is that when you're in the NBA and you see 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", they're all just standing. So imagine Sophie Cunningham, she's 6'1". She couldn't get a ball. They'd be swatting it up. I know this is a long way to get here for the story. That's this idiot. That's what happened to him. The Collins effect says no one has never read from notes at a funeral. No one has never read. So that means they always read. And I mean, you mean ever? No one's ever read notes from a funeral, wedding, debate, or retirement. Tell me I am lying. Your grift is lame. You are not a professional. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. No one has never read. Okay, I guess I have to put this kind of a double negatives. This is my grift. This is a grift. I am not a professional. Not a professional what? But thank you very much. I am not talking about reading from a phone at a funeral. I can understand. I'm sorry. I have not seen anybody read. Excuse me. Has anybody seen somebody read from a phone at a funeral? I've seen weddings. I've seen this like the best man, or it doesn't really matter. At a wedding? Oh, excuse me, a funeral? A funeral? I've never seen this. Seriously, that's the set. And to read it that poorly, that was a $5 insult. Thank you. I kind of feel like the opposite of, what's his name? He pays $300K to be insulted. I'm so interesting. They pay me to insult me. Thank you. By the way, insult me again. I don't understand what's going on. So I've never seen that. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Hi. Mom, you are the best thing that ever. And by the way, it's the reading too. You are so wonderful. I cannot tell you how your death has made my life so sad. And just a minute. And I was at I was at a party one time. It was a birthday party. Just a birthday party. Like 10 people sitting around. The guy had to thank his people for just showing up to his party. It was his closest family. He pulls this thing out of and he's reading. I said, what are you reading? Thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you so much for coming here. Aunt Maxine, thank you. I love you all. Thank you. That's it. So anyway, I'm sorry. Maybe I don't think I'm that great of a speaker, but I'm going to be, and excuse me, Mr. $5 insulter, which thank you, by the way. It's like Five Below, He is a professional debater. Maybe this is part of my grift. He's a professional debater. This is what he does. He's a professional. You see what I'm saying? A professional. He's a master. He gives classes. He's teaching TPUSA. He calls it blood sports debating. He's a professional. He's a master rhetorician. And he pulls out a phone. And everybody said, is he reading? And you mean to tell me? I think that's a bit of a grift. However, whoever paid him $300K for that. Seriously. Really? Come on, man. You know better than that. Listen, do me a favor. And I'm going to be your friend, okay? Stop using grift. It's the wrong word. It's not a grift. Remember with the grifters? It was with Angelica Houston, I believe. It's like one of these words is just wrong. It's all the time. So when people say, I know this is a conspiracy. No, you're using the term right. It's not a conspiracy. Grift is more of it's not even a con. It's more like a lifestyle. It's far more involved. It's a word that's just being used. Just like Fed slop. You're the feds. who do you think is in the feds? Do you think these people are part of the feds? Do you think Posobiec is a fed? I want to say, excuse me, do me a favor. Listen, probiotic, bless your heart. If you are, hey, look, a deal's a deal. What agency paid you? You. You're the worst at this. You always look like you're going to cry. But there's the Fed. It's Fed slop. Is it Fed slop or is it a bunch of people who... you have to mention Dunning-Kruger, by the way. Dunning-Kruger is also... you have to throw that one in. And also the Overton window. Mr. Mike says, from now moving forward, Alex will forever call Andrew Wilson Pickles. Yes. Awesome appearance today. Well, thank you. Yes, Alex, I don't even think Alex knew about the notion of pickle, because that to me was just, perfect. So anyway, so as we speak, we go into day whatever week. Tomorrow's not going to be heard. Nobody's going to bring anything up about it, and it's going to be better. Demetri says he's not a debater. He has no accolades. First of all, I don't know. I don't want to tell anybody. If you're going to come in and you're a ringer, isn't that kind of what you want to be? You're a ringer. You're the guy who comes and says, like, wait a minute. It's like, you probably don't know this, but in the pool sharp, as they call, like a card sharp versus a shark. But the pool, when you hustle pool, the way the hustle works is you walk into a pool hall and you start losing and you sandbag people and you tell them, well, I don't know how to do this. And if you wanted to maybe catch Candace off guard, you would sit there and say, oh, I'm just a regular guy, but I love to debate you. And in fact, I don't even know if it's a debate, but I just want to discuss it. Okay. And let's assume you really were the debater. That's what you want to see. That's the guy who comes out of nowhere and says, who's this guy? He was great. Wait a minute. Are you a debater? Well, actually I am. You're a sandbagger. I guess I am. I guess I sandbagged you. I guess I fooled you. I guess I lured you into thinking that, that sort of thing. And that's precisely, that's what it is. Yeah, paper moon might be a grift, sort of. Let me just do this. There's this thing, again, this word. When we get into this, how do I say this? Fed slop is one thing which drives me crazy. But I wanted just to say this again. I'm gonna do this perhaps to the point of exhaustion. Confidence. The confidence man is a deliberate deception to trick somebody into surrendering money or property or something else. The con man, the con artist knows that what he's saying is false, but he uses it to manipulate the truth. Kind of like Mr. Haney. Remember him, so to speak? Sort of, kind of a shyster type. He was Green Acres. A grift is different. It's a broader, it's more opportunistic. It usually means, according to the definitions, somebody who's exploiting an audience or a controversy or a cause or something for personal gain, sometimes maybe through exaggeration, insincerity. It's hard to explain this. Every con is a grift, but not every grift is a con. It's the wrong word. It's the wrong word. I don't want to belabor the point, but it's this thing that people are saying repeatedly that drives me absolutely nuts. It's like, stop saying that. But once we get on it, we can't get off it. There's this part about this. So anyway, so the bottom line is simply this. As we spoke, and as we continue to speak, nobody still understands exactly, well, what is happening with all this. And the bottom line with what's happening is very simply this. This is before us, whether people want to realize this or not, probably the whodunit, the crime of the century. I don't know which century. This it's like nothing we've ever seen. It is truly a whodunit. And all we can mostly say is, I don't know who done it, but I can tell you who didn't do it. That's the thing I want to tell people. And I also want to say, and please forgive me, because maybe you're thinking I'm just belaboring the point, and I understand if you think so. I'm sorry, it's my nature. But the complexity of this is so fascinating. Because they fought us, because they sent out these legions of the probiotics and the others to laugh at us and laugh at Candace, it inspired us to wake up. Do you think that Casio, maybe Barron, Ian, Colin, others, do you think that were it not for Candace being so mercilessly attacked, do you think, true question, that they would be involved in it at this point? Do you? Do you think, and this is important, do you think that were it not for that fact, that they would even be a part of this? Would there be this Sam Parker? Would there be that Constitution? All these folks. And the best of the best is Officer Tatum, who is the funniest. He's like the Rube debater. Tatum is just, he's like a Dave Chappelle character. He honest to God doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know what he's saying, but by God, he has an energy there, I guess. Do you think we would even be there if they never went after Candace? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you, if it were just the prosecutor, not so much Erica, but it was a prosecutor, and let's just say TPUSA wasn't involved in this, do you think any of us would be here? Would you? Would you really care about this? You say, well, I don't know if I'd be. I'd say, well, we'll get to the bottom of this. Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of this, I guess. I'm serious. Does anybody here have any real interest in Tyler Robinson? Do you care if God forbid, he has a heart attack tomorrow? Not something, nefarious, but would you say, oh, well, or maybe not, not now, because now we'll think somebody did this, but before you'd say, they created the momentum. They created this. And all of a sudden, I remember kind of where I was. I thought to myself, oh, this is interesting. I like Candace. I thought it was interesting. Okay. The Brigitte Macron thing, that's interesting. I'd like to see where that goes. That's an interesting case. Got a lot of issues there. And I liked her. I wasn't, And then all of a sudden, and I don't know when it was. Maybe you can help me. When was this? All of a sudden, out of the blue, out of the blue, they said, this woman is evil. Who said that? Ben Shapiro. Wait a minute. Whoa. Go on. This woman is the devil incarnate. Who said that? Laura Loomer. I said, oh, this is good. Oh, now we're on this. Go on. Anybody else? Yes. I don't know, Shmuley Botiak, but what's going on here? This Candace Owens, Mr. Gino Farm, bless your heart, says, my comment won't take. Please read my unpaid comment below. I will look for it. It takes me a while to sift through this. By the way, thank you very, very much for your kindness. If ever you cannot get something, please try writing a word with an asterisk or something along those lines. I don't know why sometimes it allows certain things to. Again, I can't. I will try to find this, and I thank you for that. Thank you very, very much. But do you know where you were? I'm serious. When did you get into this? How did I get involved in this Candace thing? I don't know. I'm not trying to be stupid here, but I said I liked her, but now I was like, that's all I'm talking about because it's the greatest story in the world. I'm thinking, this is just every time I'm thinking, okay, I think that's it. Have you ever had this? How many of you have thought, you know what? I think we pretty much, we're not going to be hearing too much about this. Well, we had a preliminary hearing. No. Every day there's a new timeline. There's a new. We just found out right now that this wasn't Orem. It was another case, and that this man is, and actually is an imposter, and it turns out that Lance Twiggs is a Soviet agent, or something. It's like The Godfather. Every time I'd leave, you pull me back in. How did this happen? How? I have a dear friend of mine. He thinks, maybe you're the same way. He thinks, I used to really listen to you. I said, oh, okay. Well, why don't you listen to me? Well, all you're talking about is this Candace thing. I said, is that what you think it is? Do you think it's a Candace thing? Seriously. Is that what you think it is? Do you think it's a Candace thing? Do you think this is about Candace Owens? He said, well, yeah. I said, well, why do you think that? Why do you think I would be so interested in just Candace Owens? Why would you think that? He said, I don't know. I said, well, why did you say that? He said, I don't know. Well, it's not about Candace Owens. It's about what they're saying about Candace Owens about a trial. About the trial regarding the murder of one of the most beloved people in the country. Does that make any sense to you? I kind of got a little hot. And I said, do you know who Charlie Kirk was? Well, I said, no. Do you know who Charlie Kirk was? I'm going to tell you something. And I'm going to try to see if I can say this in a way that makes sense. When we were, remember that time, honey, we were on Long Island? It was a birthday party, right? Remember that? I can't tell you who I spoke to. But if I told you who he was, you would be shocked. This is not the kind of person you would think would care about Charlie Kirk. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to leave it at that. And I said, what's the matter? And he said, didn't you hear? I said, he goes, Charlie Kirk. I said, did you listen? He says, every day. I said, you? I don't know why I said that. I said, I thought this guy was, I thought he'd be like at the horse track or something. But I said, you listen to, he goes, yes. And my kids, I didn't know they listened. I didn't know they listened. I had no idea. Have you had this? This blew me away. I said, Charlie Kirk talked about abstinence and no sex before marriage and no drugs. And I was like, you listen to this? Yes. The people that I'm telling you, I'm sure you've seen this too. I don't know anybody like this. It was almost like, I can't think of anybody who had this effect on people. Like maybe Harry Potter or I don't know. And I said, do you know how big Charlie Kirk was? He was, put it this way, he was to young people what Billy Graham was, and I know he's not a preacher per se, but a spiritual leader. Think about this. Who bigger than Charlie Kirk? Who? Anybody? a spiritual leader, somebody who led people and told them about morality and people like and nobody said, oh, who the hell was this guy talking about? No, sir, I've heard this before. Don't tell me not to have sex. No, they listened to him. Did you remember when Charlie talked to those OnlyFans young ladies? He was very polite. He says, well, he says, I don't particularly, watch OnlyFans, but you too can find the spirit of the holy, blah, 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 blah. And they were very, well, thank you. It was incredible. This Mr. Sniz goes on and just is so vile. He's such a crude man, if you can call it that. Vile. Has a lot of skeletons in that closet. Steamer trunk emotional baggage. Married to a woman who I don't know anything about his wife, but so let me just go back. Charlie Kirk's death affected everybody. Cammie Roundtree says, always need to thank you, Lionel. You are so very appreciated. Thank you immensely. That is so kind. So I talked to my friend. I said, listen, I appreciate what you're doing. Now, he does this thing, and he talks about Israel. I said, now, that's a very, very important subject. No doubt about that. Israel is a very important topic. Very important. Very critical. I said, by the way, when was the last time you reported anything that changed? Anything at all? Anything that changed regarding Israel? Anything, or Iran for that matter? Is there anything that changed? Anything that in any way can you? No, I said, how do you talk about that every single day? And he said, well, it's because it's important. I said, yes. I said, but nothing's changed. And I've got friends of mine. Did Trump go from the airplane, Air Force One, to the other one? Did he slip to the beverage? What are we talking about? Well, what about, and nothing's ever resolved. And they say, no, that's news. Okay, well, let me tell you about this news right now. So that's what this is about. Not only that, you're never going to find out what happened. I'm going to say this to you. I hope you realize this. You're never going to find out what happened. You were never going to find out the shooter. You're never going to find out the person who was actually there, who was responsible. I don't know if it will never find out. There will be no results that will answer our question. Years ago, I was fascinated always with JFK. And I said, I want to know what did the shooter look like? How many were there? 2, 3? Who were they? Were they military? How do you do that? Grassy knoll area for sure, but how do you do that? How do you get away? How does somebody not look and say, well, and then they showed me this picture. It was Lucien Sarti. And he was killed in Mexico City in 1970 in the streets of her. And I think he was Corsican but he was big into, it was a sniper. And he took too many risks, really wild. And they said they didn't like him. And he used frangible bullets and that sort of thing. And when I saw his face, and I said, that could be the one? Yeah. Because the assassins were always these kind of NPC kind of, images. I thought, wow. And they said, where did they come from? They probably came. They weren't most probably. And this is a hypothesis. Can't prove it to be true. But said probably they came most probably from either, they said it might have been the Trafficante connection, the French connection kind of a thing, Marseille, and because these assassins, there were so many of them, military, but through Corsica, through France, through Sardinia, through all these, but they came through Mexico. settled in Dallas, maybe for like a month, got the lay of the land, figure out, and this may have been done in various cities. And they figured out where, and the shooters said, okay, we're going to come this way. They knew they had to reroute the route. And they figured out where they would stand and how they would do this and the weather. I mean, they figured things out. And it was probably here. And then afterwards, they went back to the safe house, maybe stayed for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, never moved, never budged. There would be a manhunt. And then they would slip back through Mexico, back to wherever they were. When I heard that, it was so, the chills. I was like, wow. And they may not have even known who they were going to hit at first. And if they're caught, they're not American. They're not, CIA. Their name isn't Dave Murphy from some city. No, his name is Jean-Lucien Sarti. And if something happens to him, something happens to him. And if you get him, he doesn't know how he got there. He's not even sure who paid him. And he sure as hell ain't going to tell anybody. This is a professional assassin. This is a guy who does this, knowing that he can get caught. And Sarti in particular, they said, was really pulled. Anyway, so we still don't know. 1963, you're never going to find out who this person was or people were. Allie says, Pickles is a master obfuscator. He avoids the question, pivots, redirects, constantly interrupts, and he plays fast and loose with the truth. But you give him too much credit. You make it sound like these are deliberate ploys of his. He's just bad. He's just a liar. He's just a bombast, a bully, a blatteroon, a chuff, a churl, a bore. He's a nobody. And you know what? Remember when they had, what's my line? Was it I've Got a Secret? I think it was I've Got a Secret. I could forget, but in the 60s. I said, I'm Pickles Wilson. I'm Pickles Wilson. I'm Pickles Wilson. In 2026, I, Andy Pickles Wilson, portrayed myself as a skilled debater. And I paid $300,000 of my own money, well, theoretically, to debate Candace Owens, whereupon she handed me my ass and among my gonads and other parts that I don't need anymore. And I became a laughingstock in 2 days. By Friday night, I was originally a joke. Saturday, they still couldn't believe it. Sunday, it kind of petered out. And by Monday, I was forgotten. And I walked away $300K light. Now, later on, we don't know who paid him or whatever it was. That was, I'm trying to think, was he an imposter? Was he it's like the game show imposter. What is he? Our good friend, the warden, says, how about some hand farts, Mr. L? You know what? You don't get that too often. I'm going to try something a little bit different. This is from the days of the Rona. This is when we had, remember when you had in your purse or your bag, you always had the, there we go. You always had, no, that's not it. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. This is sticky stuff. Ooh-wee. See? Makes you feel good, doesn't it? I still wish, and I know she wouldn't have done it, but if I ever get the chance to debate him in the middle of this question, and of course somebody would say, did you do that? I said, no, not really. 9/11 is held together with gaslighting, incredulity. 9/11 is still the best. Many of you fine folks still, this was 25 years ago. I forget sometimes. I talk to people who are themselves. I talked to a young lady one time the other day who was asking me for some show. And she says, I'm 25. I said, oh my God. I said, well, when you were born, I was red pilled. In fact, I was talking to Alex about this. Alex was the guy who, and I mean, remember, he was the first one there. Nobody was like him. Nobody. Jack Anderson sort of was like an investigative reporter, and nobody like Alex. Alex freaked people out. Kemi Roundtree says, hubby and I still use the hand sanitizer. Well, I don't want to know why, but aren't they? This is good. Now, Mrs. L has got me hooked on, what do you call the stuff we get from, is it Body Shop or, oh my God. It's a smell that is so, I'm addicted to it. It's just, whenever we go out to eat, say, here, want some of this? Yeah, it just smells. But this hand sanitizer, this reminds me of those terrible times, that awful period. In any event, my friends, please follow Mrs. L. Tonight we did a live, did a very, very important, it was a bit impromptu, but we're going to do more of these. Follow her on Lynn's Warriors. We did something to explain how, for the first time, there was major litigation involving big tech that was so critical. So please follow her at Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. Also, Lynn's_Warriors on X. Also, my friends, please like this video. Please subscribe, because sometimes people are unsubscribed, and hit that little bell so you're aware of live streams and new videos. As long as this case is of interest, as long as you show an interest, as long as the case still kind of permeates and percolates through whatever, I'm going to be there. We're going to be there. Because what the next stage of this is, I don't know. We're going to have the trial just to prevent colds. Well, good. I don't know if it works though, Cammy. I hope so. A rhinovirus may or may not help though. Livia Von Anken, thank you so much, Livia. Appreciate that. But just so that you know this. And I'm going to say this again. If anybody thinks this is about Candace, you're missing the point. If you honest to God think that, you're missing the point completely. It makes absolutely no sense. All right, my friends, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You are absolutely, by the way, Lynn's Warriors, indeed, correct spelling. Would love to follow. Yes, follow her. In fact, I'm going to give you right now. This is the link. You can do this. It is so critical. There is nothing more. There we go. This is the link itself. You just click on this and this will send you right there. There we go. Put this right there. So make sure you put that. In any event, my friends, have a great and glorious day. We will see you tomorrow. Sorry for the confusion tonight. I thought it was 8. If I put 7, I'm a little shin god today. What are you going to do? In any event, thank you so much. Have a great and a glorious evening. We will talk tomorrow. And if we're going to, till then, my friends, remember the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.